The Lawnmower 3.0. Now, everybody online say that this is the best thing to not nick or snag your nuts. This is like if Apple or Tesla made a beard trimmer. I mean, this thing really feels like I couldn't hurt myself with it if I tried. I went to the store earlier, and I got some kiwis. Oh my god, it's got a light. Dude, are you kidding me? It definitely feels gentle. And like, I'm not cutting the kiwi at all. I've never seen a kiwi shaved. The next thing they sent is this bag to put my ball trimmer in. These are the mats. You put it down, you shave onto the paper. The other thing they sent me, dude, undies with the crop preserver. It's anti-chafing ball deodorant. Dude, it smells.
So in today's video, we're going to talk about what actually changed with the MP5. And there was a lot of debate over on Twitter. The pros were complaining, and then they were reaching out. And apparently it was confirmed by the devs because they're going back and forth. So we're going to take a look at exactly what was changed and how many people it'll actually affect. I didn't notice it initially because it's specific to the collapsible stock. So we're going to talk about those type of things in today's video. So if you find the video helpful and learn something new, make sure you hit the like button. Goal in today's video is 2,500 likes. If you're brand new, want to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, just make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Pretty straightforward. Let's get into the breakdown. So here's basically the full story. Infinity Ward made a gameplay change to Call of Duty for the MP5 4 days before the COD Championships, which are this weekend, by the way. 4 teams go head-to-head. Whoever wins, that's the end of the season, and then we'll go over to next season with the brand new game. Without saying anything, the pros noticed immediately because they use this gun or the M4. Those are the only 2 guns they use 8 to 10 hours a day when they're scrimming, when they're practicing, when they're warming up with the bots. So even if they would have changed like a pixel, pros are going to notice. That is what they're doing for a living. They only use 1 gun, and those are the 2 guns they use pretty much, right? They only use either the MP5 or the M4, and if you're an MP5 main, you're going to notice if a pixel is off. So that's basically what happened, and now all the CDLs teams are getting asked to see what they're going to do, or whatever the case is. So they basically, and then they make a joke about, well, of course this happens this year with how broken some of the things have been going on behind the scenes. So now let's talk about what actually is happening. So luckily, if you follow the channel, I recently did a breakdown on the MP5. I was focusing on the monolithic suppressor versus the monolithic integral suppressor, kind of talking about the pros and cons and which one ends up being better. So I actually had footage from about a week ago when I recorded the footage on the left, and then I had footage on the right, only using that specific attachment. The one in the right in red was gameplay from today. So I recorded it, jumped in, and I was like, I don't see a difference. Like literally they look the same to me. I can't really notice it. And then people were like, oh, well, maybe, I see, like even Scopes jumped in. I don't see a difference. Then I even took it a step further because I had screenshots of recoil pattern. People were saying the recoil looks all out of whack. So I went and took a look at that. So we got to really find out what the heck's going on here. On the left is from my video. This is with the monolithic suppressor. This is the monolithic integral suppressor, which we saw didn't affect recoil. And then I equipped the monolithic suppressor, which you can see here, and I fired 6 magazines against the wall. And you can see it pretty much looks the same. There's not really much difference there. And I even took that a step further and overlaid them. And you're really looking at the trace of the gun. You can see it's pretty much lined up basically perfectly. There's no really out of sync there. Obviously the hand and the little watch are a little bit off. But as far as the weapon goes, it's basically as lined up as it could possibly be. And I was like, it doesn't look like a change to me. And then I started getting a conversation, and it looks like it's collapsible stock dependent. So when you click the collapsible stock, you end up with an issue, which we'll go ahead and check out right now. So I took some screenshots. You can see what's going on here. We have the collapsible stock. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the default so you can see the difference here. So you can see the gun kind of comes down when you don't have the collapsible stock, and it comes up with the collapsible stock, which is pretty normal. We saw that before, but the problem is they've actually adjusted it, widening this part of it. And I actually had to go back a couple months back to some ground war gameplay with the circle mini-map, so that's kind of how old the gameplay was, and I was able to get the screenshot. So here's the gameplay, and what I did is I ended up tracing out a yellow line, just kind of get a rough estimate before I did a detailed any kind of breakdown. I was like, proof of concept. Let me see if they actually changed anything. You can see right here, I'm using the collapsible stock. This is an old gameplay video from a long time ago. And then what happens is I do the same thing. I get a couple screenshots from here. You can see I'm in here. It looks like it's pretty much it's the same layer. It's just lined up. You can see if I just shifted it over a hair, it lines up pretty perfectly. These were both done. I put my FOV to 80 to match console FOV with the field of view where it changes when you aim down sight. So everything's lined up, looks good. And then what happens is when you actually compare it to the screenshots we just looked at, look at how much this side pretty much lines up with it right there. But look at how wide they've made this portion. So right here, if I move this layer and I center it, look at how much wider they've made it when I line up this right side right here on the gun. When I move it to the left and I line it up with the left side, you can see that it's not very lined up at all. It's not properly lined up. It would look, there's no real way I can get that to line up. It's just too wide. Like even if I put this lined up at the top, it's too wide. So they've added an extra area part because they've either changed the dimension or something along those lines. And that is the happening right now. And the only real way you would have noticed this is if you had a collapsible stock MP5 that you use basically exclusively. You never straight off meta. So even though that doesn't look like a big difference when you're used to it a certain way, obviously in pubs, no big deal. People got used to it. They'll have to adjust. People playing for over $1 million in that tournament, that's important because you've played a certain way for 9 months, the game has been out, and all of a sudden they're flipping the script on you. So they got to address that right away. I think they're just going to revert it with a quick patch. We'll see. But if you're feeling like something's off with your MP5, it's really, that's all that's happening. It didn't change. We're not talking damage rate. None of that got touched. The only issue here is the way they position the gun when you use a collapsible stock. So hopefully that's helpful. Learn something. Please do me a favor, hitting that like button. If you're brand new, want to find your way back for more content, just subscribe, notifications on. This one, the reveal tomorrow. Probably going to post a video more than likely, especially if it's a video. We'll kind of wait and see.
You reach out and help you. Our house team, collaborators, creators, like probably expertise.
That's pretty natural.
So we need to know. Design labs and next king. Yes, it's a once-a-decade opportunity for